What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Online Trainer Show. So in today's episode, which is episode 16 of the podcast now, we had on Dan and Mike from Biceps and Banter, who are an online coaching team who have recently just formed together to create Biceps and Banter. They've been putting out some really good stuff in the industry at the minute, especially through social media, and really they just are real down-to-earth guys, both of them. So in this podcast, we talk about how they got into the industry, different ways to kind of really focus on your own niche and standing out in social media as well. So this is a great podcast for any of those that really want to up their social media game and start to stand out a bit more. You can check out all of the Biceps and Banter links from the information notes, and also you can head over to our free Facebook group called the Online Trainer Society, where you can pick up our free ebook called The Flood of Leads. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoy this podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Right, hello there, and welcome back to episode 16 of the Online Trainer Show. On today's episode, we've got Dan and Mike from Biceps and Banter, who are an online coaching business who've recently just kind of formed together. I was going to intro you both, but I thought that would probably just take forever, so I'll let you both fight over your intro. So one of you can go first, and then we can go from there. So just give us a bit of a background about yourselves and how you got into the industry.
Oh wow! Well, without boring your listeners too much, yeah. Like
well, you should stop talking.
Yeah. This is
straight away.
Yeah, I'm the brains. Mike's the face and the biceps and the back and everything else.
Correct.
No, I started working in fitness. I worked in professional football. So I was Jack's struggling there.
You alright, mate?
Just down the wrong hole. As soon as you made a joke, it just killed me. So I'm not going to drink.
So I started working in professional football. I was like a
T-boy.
Yeah. I was the boot cleaner. Yeah. So I was the first team sports scientist at Hull City Football Club for a couple of years.
Anyone can get a job at Hull, mate.
Yeah. Got promoted to the Premier League, so no, it's not all bad, is it? So yeah, it was good, but it was kind of one of those jobs where it was always what I thought I wanted to do when I was younger. I got into it, got the job I wanted, and realised it wasn't quite as good as it was made out to be, and actually you have zero impact and people don't really listen to you. I mean, people don't listen to me now, so it doesn't make a difference, but at least they pay me more now.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think like pay wasn't great, and it was just a bit of a sour industry to be in. So
yeah,
I left, became a PT, started PTing in London, and I started online coaching while I was working in football. I saw it as my kind of way out a little bit. So I reckon I was probably, I started online coaching when it first came around. So like my first clients, I was charging like £30 a month.
Yeah.
No one had ever heard of online coaching. And even then it was like, people weren't really sure about, paying that sort of money. It's ridiculous looking back. And then, yeah, just PT'd for 2.5 years in London, honed my skills there. And then just went full time online 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I met this dickhead.
Are you referring to me?
That's the one.
Or Jack?
Just you, mate.
Okay, brilliant. Is that you done?
That's me done, I think.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't want to put more than that. That's boring enough, isn't it?
Well, I used to be in the RAF.
He fixed planes. He wasn't a fucking fighter.
Yeah, but come on, still defending the country, so thank you, everyone. Don't worry about it. That's the country.
Didn't get a medal, though, did you?
Yeah, I did get a medal.
Hey!
I got 2, actually.
Hey!
2 medals. Chocolate. Yeah, so I used to be in the RAF, and I was already like sort of interested in fitness and nutrition. I was always decent at sport at school and things like that. And I'd always wanted to do something fitness related, but just poor careers advice had led me down a certain path. And I basically was just like, do you know what? There's no idiots in the fitness industry, and that's what he's crying out for. So I saw a niche and went for it.
Hang on, there's quite a lot of idiots in the fitness.
Oh yeah, I know, but deliberate idiots. The rest of them are just fucking mongs, aren't they? But yeah, so I basically did my start my degree whilst I was in the RAF. I got qualified as a nutritionist, qualified as a PT, and then set my business on the side. And within month 1, I sort of doubled what I was earning in the RAF. Yeah. So I was like, right, ta-da. And then yeah, just carried on from there and met this idiot, and here we are about 3 years later, something like that.
Awesome, yeah. Cool.
And that's me.
And that's where you are now. Mm-hmm. So how did the the name Biceps and Banter come about, and how did you two, I guess, form the brand? Like, what made you come up with the name?
Do you know
and,
what?
Like, just form it together?
It's always cringy, isn't it? Coming up with a name, like always cringy, like because we were struggling to know what to call ourselves because, like, I don't know, just everything seems a little bit, I don't know, embarrassing. And even Biceps and Banter is fucking embarrassing, like, let's be honest. But
yeah, there's an element of, like, when you self-proclaim it, you worry, and you think, like, oh, but then people will be like, oh, as if they've called themselves that or whatever. And then it was just, it was born about, really, like, everything that we've done so far, we've just literally been almost the first thing that's come into our head. Yeah. And we were just like, that's what we're about. And we kind of, when we did it, so basically we were part of Team Box, me and Mike as coaches. We started our YouTube channel around April time. Yeah. And we were looking at what to call our channel, and it was kind of something that was supposed to be separate from Team Box. Like, it was, you know, in a way, I suppose, Steve at the time wanted us to put our videos somewhere else rather than under that name. So we were like, okay, cool. So we just sort of sat there and went, right, we want people to know instantly what it's going to be about as soon as they hear the name. And we went back and forth with it. I think Biceps and Banter was one of the first ones we came up with. Yeah. And we just kept going back to it and going, but that's what it's going to be about. Like, people are going to know straight away. It's going to be about the gym. It's going to be about having a laugh. Like, that's kind of what we want it to be about. So yeah, like, that's it really. Like, it's a bit cringy looking back now, but then at the same time, we want people to know as soon as they see our stuff or hear the name or see our logo that they know what they're in for. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that we've done that.
Which is coincidentally neither Biceps nor Banter.
Yeah, but we fooled them for like that 30 seconds. Yeah. They view the video for 30 seconds, that's fine. Yeah. That's all that matters.
You've got the clip.
Get the view. And it's cool, exactly. But yeah, hopefully, like, it kind of comes across, and I think, yeah, since leaving, that we wanted to make sure that everything we do was based around our personality and based around what we're like. Yeah. And we didn't want to have to change anything or filter anything or play, you know, like say, play around with what we should or shouldn't do. It was just, no, this is just what we're going to do. If people like it, they do. If they don't, fuck them. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So I like the name. I really like it. It's catchy, and when I think of it, I just think of you two. So yeah, it definitely works.
That's good then.
Mission accomplished.
It could have been Delts and Dickheads.
Yeah.
Calves and what?
We've been suggested
Can't say that word.
We've had a few suggestions of, like, we should do what is it for, like, a girl branch doing glutes and giggles or something like that. Like, there's loads of different ways you can do it, and it wouldn't surprise me if someone will copy it. Like, that's just what happens in the fitness industry. So I wouldn't surprise us or copy it. But there's loads of things you can do in there with it.
Yeah,
things like that.
Trying to think now. Can't think of any more.
Oh, you'll think of loads, mate.
Triceps and twats.
Loads.
Cool. So let's talk about the process of how it works, like, when a client comes to you, because, like, there's probably a lot of coaches listening to this that may want to, I guess, join forces with another coach that they may know. Like, how does it work? Do they choose you both as a coach? Do they get check-ins from you both, or is it, like, specifically when someone comes to you, like, they get assigned to, like, say, Mike or Dan? Like, how does it work?
So we tend to get our own sort of separate inquiries, and I think, because obviously, like, me and Dan are a similar character, but I think we offer slightly different things. So, like, my demographic is more sort of, I don't like to pigeonhole, like, an avatar as, like, a sex or an age or anything like that. It's more of a personality type. Yeah. So the reason why I sort of act how I act is a bit of an exaggeration, of my actual self.
It's not.
So it is.
It's not.
Shut the fuck up. Do you want another beating? So I tend to attract people who sort of resonate with that, which is great for me, because then I work with, obviously, people who I think have got a sense of humour, and it just feels like I'm chatting to my mates on a weekly check-in. And then Dan, again, puts his own personality across, and I think that's the beauty of being yourself and not really conforming to certain rules and boundaries and things, that you get out what, and I suppose you get back what you put out, right? So he tends to get his own separate inquiries, so do I. And yeah, like, they'll both know one of us. Most people probably have a favourite, so they'll probably go with that one or whatever. And check-in wise, we do our own separate client stuff, but we're sort of interactive together on, like, our Facebook page. So we'll do, like, Q&As and things like that. Then we'll take, like, we've got a client photo shoot coming up in a couple of weeks, so we'll both be there for that. Yeah. We're looking at doing training days where we've done a few seminars, things like that. So those are things we'll do together, and obviously the YouTube. But then our coaching is quite separate, I suppose.
I think it's one of those where the systems are pretty much the same, like, in terms of what they get from us and the amount of our time and stuff. I think it's just the delivery of that differs. So like, I do a fair amount of phone calls. I speak to a lot of my clients, but it just seems to be what they prefer. Like my clientele tends to be a tiny bit older than Mike's. I think that comes from me having a kid, and I put out that on Instagram and stuff. And so I think naturally I'm going to attract a little bit more of that demographic. But again, like what we've always said when we like look at our customers is that they're all of a certain personality type. They're all people like, so, because like people always sometimes look at Biceps and Banter and they'll think, oh, demographic, 25 to 34-year-old guys who want to get in decent nick.
Yeah.
But actually, some of our really hardcore like fans of and people that message us regularly are like 40-year-old women.
Yeah. Who
probably just fancy Mike. But actually, there's an element to it where like they say like the reason that I find it funny is because you're talking about me, and that's me you're talking about. Like make jokes about like one of your characters, Susan, and we call like different names and stuff. But they kind of identify with it and go. They can laugh along with it because we're not attacking anyone personally. It's just like making fun of a situation people find themselves. And they kind of, funnily enough, go, well, that's why I like what you do, because that's me. Like, I've got a client who she's 42, I think, we have a couple of kids, and absolutely loves all our videos. And she says, I don't watch any other videos on YouTube. I'm not on it at all. Mm-hmm. So it's very much a personality type that we attract. It's not. So when we have a group of clients, Facebook group, there's a lot of banter flying around, a lot of people get involved in it, and there's none of that kind of, should we say this, shouldn't we? Because everyone's of a
there's no dickheads.
Well, there's even no or it could be all be dickheads.
Yeah, it depends how you look at it. But like everybody gets on, so we know that when we do joint stuff together, like meetups, that everybody's of the same ilk. Yeah. Like there's going to be any sort of sensitive snowflakes. Everybody just has a laugh. So again, it just makes our job so much more enjoyable. Because when you first start out, by nature, you're going to start to take on anybody you can get your hands right. With obviously the end goal of being, in a position where you can turn business away to work with the certain people that you want to work with, and luckily enough, we're probably at that point now. So when it comes to our check-ins, it's like just catching up with mates. It's quality, like we love it. Yeah,
it's one of those where we're both lucky. I suppose we've been in the industry long enough that we kind of have that. But like I've certainly worked with people in the past who just weren't a good fit, and you just have to kind of, I think at the start you worry about how you're talking to people, how you're coming across. And I think now we're looking to be in a position where it's like we don't even need to think about that because we know that the person has been watching our stuff, and it's like you know what you're going to get. You know I'm going to swear at you on the phone. Like you don't. They're not sitting there not expecting.
We're not abusing them, Dan.
yeah. But it's one of those things where you kind of know what you're going to get, so it makes it easier to then handle a few more clients as well. I think if you're starting out and got all these different clients, you have to really think about how you're talking to them, and like it can be mentally draining and stuff. Whereas at least for us, it's kind of like actually
it's easy when you give them all the same plan. So it's going to work with a couple of them.
So. Just on the topic of obviously like working as a team, do you find it makes the online coaching process more enjoyable? Because like obviously, as you both probably know, like when you were doing it solo at some point, it's quite lonely. Like you're sitting there in front of your computer, lunch is by yourself, dinner's by yourself, and you just kind of like a mong in your office, just sitting there all day. Like, do you find like having someone to bounce ideas off makes it more enjoyable?
To a point.
All right.
No, I mean, it's one of those where I think as long as that person has got your best interest at heart, and as long as you're both very open and honest with each other, I think it's fine. But I think we've both been in places in the past where actually too many cooks spoil a broth, and it's actually, it can be drowned out, and actually, again, you can be a part of something that you think is going one way, and actually it's not. And then I think with two people, I think with us it works so well because we are, as cringy as it sounds, best mates, and like it doesn't feel like I have to worry about what I say to Mike. I can just say whatever I feel, whatever I want, and it doesn't affect business. It's like you just know you're having a chat with someone, and we both know that we want what's best for each other. So we might have a disagreement, but it's not ever an issue because we both want what's best for us. So from that point of view, I think that I would also say like I've been a part now of 2 different coaching companies. This is now obviously me and Mike doing my third.
Yeah.
Is that there's actually a point where actually doing what you want to do with maybe one other person is probably is enough. I think actually people have this strength in numbers opinion, and actually I don't think it's true because some people think that they have more of a say than others and all this sort of stuff. It's one of those things where if you've got something you believe in and you want to do it that way, do it that way. And if you find someone else who can do it with you and you trust enough to do that, then do it.
Yeah.
Because it can get, like you say, quite quite lonely, I think.
They seem valuable as well for things like content creation. I think the reason why our things are looking like they're going quite well, I suppose, is that you don't see many people in our industry like come as a two. And I think that a dynamic between two people when you're watching things like YouTube is just a better watch than just watching one person talking to the camera. So I think it's got its positives in that. And again, as well with client things as well, it's nice to sort of just consult with each other sometimes. It's like, well, what would you do here? Like, what do you think? Have you come across this? And it is nice, I suppose, to have somebody who's definitely on the same wavelength. But I do agree with Dan about choose who you go into business with wisely, basically.
Yeah, someone who fits your mold, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cool. So obviously you're both very confident on social media, like from watching your stories, the content you post. Like, how have you built up your confidence to do that? Is it always something you've been good at, or is it something in the past you sort of, when you first started out, you were pretty rubbish at? Because I can remember my first video on Instagram. I go back and watch it sometimes. It was awful. Like it was like a minute-long video of me just talking to the camera, and it's like proper robot mode. So how do you kind of build up your own confidence as such between?
It's really weird because you've actually not got any better either, have
you? You knew that was coming.
Yeah, mate. Come on.
Opened myself up for that one, didn't I? Really?
It's one of those where I think the first time that I realised that we needed to do more of it was we did one. We had ages ago now, a year and a half maybe. We did like an ebook, and we were doing a video of explaining like how to use it or something like that. I can't remember what it was now. And like we did an outtake video. Just the outtake video was absolutely fucking hilarious. We were like, why are we taking it out? Like that's the best bit. Like put that in. And then I think we were working with Laura Baker at the time, and she said to us, she's like, you two are both really good on camera. Like you should do a lot more on camera. And we never really like thought about it. Yeah, maybe. I think at the time you were doing stories, and Snapchat was your big thing, wasn't it? You were on Snapchat before most people kind of jumped off it. And then I don't know, like, I think we did that, and then you get more confidence doing it, and you realise it doesn't matter if you mess up, and actually, the more human you are, the more real you are, the more people actually go, that's what I would be doing, or that's what I would do. And someone the other day actually said about, one of my clients actually, he's going into this sort of, like, going into online fitness and all this sort of stuff, and he sort of asked me, he said, everything you do looks so natural, and I was like, well, why do you think that is? And he's like, I don't know, I assume it's just practice and all this sort of stuff. I said, yeah, but I said, the other thing is, we don't do, like, 2 takes.
Yeah.
I'm not like, we just film it and put it out there, and if it's shit, it's shit or whatever. And we can obviously edit bits out, but it's like it comes across more natural because it's what we do. And if we mess up or we say something, you've probably seen it, like we cut it so that it makes it funny when we say something. And it's like, rather than cut that out and it looks very, very wooden, it's like that's what people do.
Yeah.
But there's definitely an element of it. I know Suck talks about it a lot because we follow a lot of what you guys do, and he's like, just start. And like it's like you go back and look at our first YouTube video, it is awful. At the time, I was like, oh, that's really good, and it's still better. Sorry.
Oh, we've had the first phone call on the podcast. Episode 16's in.
That's what you get us though.
Yeah,
a complete lack of professionalism.
You look back at our first ever one, and like it really, for me, and I look back now, I'm like, oh my god, that's awful. And at the time, we thought it was good, and I've heard people say, oh no, it's still good. But you just have different standards, I suppose, as you go through it, and you get better and better. You learn what's good and what's bad.
So like for me, my ex-missus actually was quite a bit. Well, she is quite a big YouTuber, and so I was around that environment, and I used to cringe hard. Like when camera, I used to hate it. I wouldn't get on camera. Like it was like something I'd be embarrassed about in public. Really. Yeah, well, and then it just. I started doing Snapchats, and it was like, do you know what? The more that you do it, the more confident you get. And actually, you realise that if people don't like it, then they just don't watch. So the way that I come across is sometimes quite crass, I suppose, and I'm quite close to the bone. So, like, I would expect a fair amount of sort of backlash or trolling, but I can probably count on one hand, like, the amount of times somebody's had a negative comment about me. So it's just a case of they don't watch. So you realise that the people that are watching for a reason. So then that in itself breeds a little bit more confidence. And like, believe me, I'm still not confident now. It might look as though you come across confident, but I won't watch any of my Instagram stories back. Like I don't delete stuff or anything like that. I don't watch them back because I cringe. And like when my missus sits there watching them next to me, I tell her to switch it off because I hate the sound of my voice.
Same.
Yeah, it's horrible, right? So I'm
Yeah,
still not overly confident with it. I do like the YouTubes though, because I like watching them back, but because I don't edit them, like it's almost like I'm watching something that almost I haven't done, and I'd like to see the way it's edited. So that's like a different spin on the humour sort of things.
Yeah.
So then I actually laugh along with it. It's almost like I'm not watching myself. But I don't think you'll ever be completely confident. It feels so unnatural getting my phone out in public or anything like that when I'm trying to film, and you'll get fucking vans beeping and shit like that. But like Dan says, you've just got to own it, I suppose, get on and do it, and realise that nobody actually gives that much of a shit, and the people that do are probably going to be those people are going to, likely to buy from you in the future.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, like, because I can relate to a lot of those points you mentioned about, like, when my girlfriend's watching my stories, like, I'm always like, I just don't like it. But like you said, you've just got to start, you've got to put something out, because otherwise you'll never actually get towards that kind of place where you want to be with those kind of things. So it's just all about starting. Just to something, I think touch on that.
I think with the fitness industry as well, though, is that what a lot of people do is they compare themselves and they think about how they come across in video, and they're worried about how they're coming across to people that are going to buy from them potentially or whatever. But then what I always say to people who are worried about that is, when you watch any of your favourite celebs or any of the favourite people you follow who aren't in the fitness industry, watch their videos, watch their stories. What do you like about them? What is it about their videos and their stories that you really resonate with? And it's always the bits where they fuck up. It's the bits where they're showing you parts of their life that you aren't related to being a celebrity. It's not like a well-edited video. It's not where they're speaking perfectly to the camera with no movement, or that if they drop their phone, like, that sort of stuff is what makes them seem human.
Yeah.
And to your followers, you may appear that person who's one step above and has more knowledge. So for you to appear more human is normal. And I think that you'll get more buy-in from people when you do that, rather than trying to be perfect.
You can always tell somebody who's rehearsed and like does different takes and says things in different ways, and it comes across wooden and unnatural. So just get it out there, basically.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that thing. I think a lot of trainers think that they need to buy into the knowledge and everything that you perfectly put out, but they buy into you. They buy into like the brand and what you talk about and you actually yourself. So I think those points really can relate to a lot.
Those, like, you can find out whether fasted cardio is better than fed cardio, or whether carbs are bad from 1,000 different places on social media. You can find information. So people aren't there for information per se. They want to be entertained. And if you give them a little bit of information in that, then you're that person that they're constantly listening to, that who they trust, who they like. And then if they do want to take things further with coaching, you're going to be the first port of call.
Yeah.
But like, sat there, spouting off things that you've obviously just rehearsed or looked up on PubMed or whatever, like, people genuinely probably aren't interested in that. Like, that's not what they've come to Instagram for. If they wanted to learn something, they'd go and do their own research. They'd probably type in Google. They might get a book. They might read a blog or listen to a podcast. But Instagram, people are just sat there quick. Like, it's easy,
fun.
simple.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Like, you use it as a distraction from work. You use social media as a distraction from boring shit. You don't want to go on Instagram and see something that's boring.
Like you say,
that's not why you use it.
Like you say, people buy people. I mean, you look at any of the bigger quote unquote people in our industry, whether you love them or hate them, that's the good thing about them. So like Joe Wicks, you arguably say that his knowledge is nowhere near up to scratch, but I'm sure he doesn't care. Like, he's obviously done very, very well because there's something different and he's entertaining. James Smith, very much the same. Like Jamie Alderton, again, entertaining character. Martin McDonald, again, character. Yeah. It's all character based, and people buy people rather than the information, I suppose.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think those points are a lot of trainers need to take away, because I think we all forget sometimes to actually just be ourselves, and that's the biggest thing that comes down to, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing as well is, like, if you're not good at video, don't do it. Yeah. Like, that's the thing, I think. Like, you don't have to look at, I know Adam Ali, like, writes, like, he's a fucking amazing writer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Doesn't do videos. Like, and again, why would you if you can write that well? Like, I think there's that thing of just find your thing that you're good at. Like, we don't want to write blogs. That's why we do YouTube videos. Yeah. And, that kind of stuff. It's not because I don't think people read blogs. Some people do read blogs, clearly, because Adam Ali's got an amazing one that loads of people read, right? So it's just about finding what you're good at. And I think that's the other thing, is that, yes, use Instagram or use things for videos if you want to start doing that. But at the same time, if it's really not something you're comfortable with, then you need to find something else that you are comfortable doing and nail it and absolutely smash it. There's too many people trying to do everything. Yeah. Like, there's a reason why we don't have a blog. There's a reason why, we don't particularly post a huge amount on a website or anything like that. It's because it's not really what we want to be doing.
No, yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. I think, like you said, a lot of people just get caught up trying to do everything, but they kind of then you just have like lots of different pieces of content which aren't really that good. So you just have your one piece that you really nail, like with you guys, with your videos and everything, and people just will watch that. So you don't need to have loads and loads of different places to go to. So I want to quickly touch on is, I think something you spoke about earlier is obviously like finding your ideal client. One of the biggest things that I see you both put out in your content is talking about the pain points of your ideal client. How do you find that? Is it something that from you get from clients with their previous experiences when they talk to you? Like, how do you go about finding out what their pain points have been so you can actually relate it in your content?
Our pain points that we use are pretty much our pain points.
Yeah.
So Dan will talk about the struggle of trying to gain muscle, I suppose, be accountable to an off-season. I will talk about things like, because I've been sucked in by stupid supplement companies before. I've been sucked into doing keto, fucking dieting, Tupperware. So it's all we're targeting ourselves, the personality of ourselves, basically. And again, it comes back to wanting to work with those types of people. So it's not hard to come up with pain points when you know all the issues that we have had and are still currently having. We just talk about what we're struggling with. And if you can't find 30 other people in the world on the internet that are similar, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, the internet is a big place. You're not a one-to-one PT where you're going after people in a 5-10 mile radius who can afford PT against all the other PTs. There's millions of people out there, and most of them are fucking fat, let's be honest. Like, if you can't find 30, do something else. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. I think I agree totally. It comes from a place of having done this sort of stuff. Like, I remember buying Diet Whey with green tea extract and CLA in it. So talking about that sort of shit is not hard.
Awful tasting protein that was as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But didn't care though, mate, because it was lean gain, so I didn't care. And I think having been that guy who for so long was worried about getting fat while getting bigger. I mean, talking about it for me, like you say, in terms of pain points, I can literally cry when I'm writing it. I'm like, oh my god, like that's me. Like that's exactly what I've been through. Like spending £200 a month on supplements. I've been there. I've done it. 3 different tubs of protein. Like I've done it. Like we've done all that sort of stuff. So it's easier. But it's interesting you say it though, because I don't think we really do it like
we don't do it enough
consciously, and I don't think we do it enough, as we should be. But the other thing that I do a lot of, and we started doing a lot more recently, we both had a discussion about making sure we both do it more often, is the amount of texts we get from our clients saying like, oh my god, like I used to do this, I've done this now, I feel great, is like just screenshotting that, keeping it on your phone, and then going back and looking and going, because screenshots are quite easy to find. I think you've got like an album on some phones now, and like you go through them and you read them like, oh my god, like hang on a minute, like I need to be talking about this. This is a common thing that comes up, and we're lucky when you've got full with clients, you can go back into that catalog of people and go, right, this is what they were feeling, this is how they feel now, this is what coaching has done for them, because you can see the text and the emails, and it's just easy to screenshot it. So I genuinely don't think we're actually very good at it, but the fact that obviously you picked up on it obviously means we're doing something right. Whether we're doing it subconsciously is another thing, but I think it's just the industry make it easy for us as well, because there's so many people out there talking shit, so it's kind of like they've got hundreds of thousands of followers. It's easy for us to watch a video and go, I know why you might believe this because they've said X, Y, and Z, but I know that doesn't help because I've done it, and this is why I know it doesn't work. Which I think is, it helps. You don't have to look around some of the bigger names and go, hang on a minute, like this is the information that's being put out. I can reverse engineer it and go, well, this isn't going to work for this reason. Mm-hmm. And then people are going to go, okay, well, I tried that before and it didn't work last time. I think that's the other thing, is a lot of people, when you delve deeper, it's human nature, we all do it, is that we try something, it doesn't work, and we just then try it again and assume it was us that was wrong. It's like, no, you just was wrong. Like, you cut carbs last time you tried dieting. Why are you doing it again? Like, you've done that before. So again, talking about these things is really easy for us to kind of say, no, last time you dieted and cut carbs, you felt shit after 6 weeks. Well, my clients don't feel shit after 6 weeks. So why are you going through that again? And it makes them realize, hang on a minute, like, we're getting results with people and they're not doing all these drastic things. And it kind of, I think that curiosity element is there for them when they see that. Because I think it's easy seeing a transformation from someone going, I was eating chicken and broccoli all day every day and doing loads of cardio. It's like, well, no shit. But when you see a transformation of someone and they go, hang on a minute, they're allowed to eat bread and milk and they didn't have to do all this crazy stuff. It's that curiosity element in their head.
Yeah.
Which I think is useful.
No, so that kind of leads like nicely on to like the content that you both put out. Obviously, the creation of it. Where do you get the motivation to put out the videos, to put out the infographics? Like, where does like your kind of what's the word for it? Like, where do you find the ideas to put out these pieces of content? Is it just something you see online and think we need to make a video on this, or we need to make an infographic on it,
Usually,
or is it something else? And also, who's the most useless at editing?
Oh, that's a second genius on that one, isn't it?
I haven't got a clue, mate. I'm just the star. Don't worry about that. Come on. Yeah, like it's not hard to find inspiration. Let's be honest. Like Dan says, there's a lot of dickheads out there. So I've got a few go-to pages that I'd literally look on, and it's gold dust. And it's like, okay, this is why that's wrong. So I'm gonna fucking slate them, without being nasty or name calling, but because some people will still believe those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Like, and Dan said, like, you can just word it in a way where you actually say all of that is useless. What essentially you've done, if you've got a result, is you've stuck yourself in a calorie deficit, and that's it.
That's the thing is the second that you kind of have you look at one of these videos and you propose a counter argument and you say to them, yeah, they've done all this sort of stuff, but actually the main thing is that they've been in this calorie deficit.
Yeah.
People look at it and go, oh, but these guys are clever enough to see that and highlight it, but this other person obviously isn't clever enough to see that. They think it's magic, and we're just going, look, it works for this reason. Mm-hmm. So it's that the inspiration comes from
other people,
and like you say, sometimes it's other videos and stuff like that, and rather than sitting there trying to write things out, thinking, oh, what do my clients want to know? Well, go and look at what your clients are looking at elsewhere on the internet, and show them why it's useless.
Yeah.
In your own way is kind of our way of doing it, I suppose.
And then obviously the eating challenges are just for a bit of fun. Although we do storyboard them, like we make sure that the editing's slick, we know what shots we're going to use, and then obviously Dan tends to embarrass himself eating. But so there is thought behind that as well, like, believe it or not, and obviously they get our most views, which is, it's a little bit sad. But
do you find they help with like clients like coming on board or not online coaching itself, or is it more of a case of just actually getting to know you two like as two people instead?
It's a bit of a get to know us. You can eat and nothing's really gonna happen. We do eat these kinds of things. But then the rest of the time, we're pretty moderate. We train hard, and it was just more so from a thing of like we both started watching these types of things. We saw that they got quite a lot of engagement and interaction, and there's quite a lot of people in the fitness industry doing it. And I've known that I've been pretty good at eating for a fair few years, so we were just like, do you know what, let's try one. And then people responded really well to the first one. So it's just a bit of a regular thing, and we've decided to do. And anything that comes up, or we take ideas off people, we'll sort of do it. And it's just another sort of string to his bow, I suppose. Just something interesting that breaks up the content that we do, really.
Mm-hmm. I think with the videos as well, I think it's one of those things where I've had a couple of people reach out to us and sort of say, oh, mate, thinking of doing a YouTube channel, like, what microphone do you use or what camera do you use, and all this. It's like, like, it's not really like about that. And when Mike says we storyboard stuff, like, it's not just flicking a camera on and talking shit. Like, there's an element to it where it's like it's supposed to be like a show, and it's supposed to be well thought out, and there's elements within a show or within episodes that you need in there to get people to buy into that video and watch it. And I think that there's an assumption, and that's the assumption we want. We want the assumption that it's thrown together, because that's how we want it to come across and look. But the reality is very, very different, in that the way they're crafted is they're made to look that way. Yeah. Whereas when you actually look at someone who's got a video and they're throwing it together, it looks appalling. You wouldn't watch it. So it's kind of, with the way we've done it, without going to loads of details, people just copy it, is that like we've got different videos and different types of videos that are out there for different purposes. So there's obviously the eating challenges, which again, no one's going to learn a huge amount about nutrition from. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. And likewise, we have some videos on there where we go into like in-depth nutrition topics, and there's a reason that they're on there.
They're basically in there because a lot of fitness people like yourself watch eating challenges, right?
Yeah.
So they're in there to draw a new crowd, and then that person might then watch some of our informative things, right? Yeah. So they're in there to draw people in, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's the same with Instagram, and it's the same with YouTube. Is that it's not just like we don't just have like content and put it out for the sake of it. There's a reason behind a certain post. There's a reason behind a certain video. There's a reason behind, I suppose, the layers beneath it. That it's not. I think people just assume content creation is just sitting down, thinking of a topic and writing about it. And that's all well and good. And you're probably going to get a couple of clients doing that. But it's more about thinking about how you're casting your net, how you're then baiting those people and getting them to then get something from you. And then once they're in and once you've got something from them, how do you keep them in the loop of your information and show them you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
And it's stuff that you guys talk about. I don't think we're going over anything revolutionary. We're just doing it with video, as opposed to like Facebook ads or anything like that. And it's kind of a way for us to do the same thing, but using our strength, which is being able to put up a video and edit it nicely and make it look all right and kind of funny, hopefully. And it's just a different way of doing it, I think. Because I wouldn't know the first thing about Facebook ads. I don't know a thing about them. I don't claim to know them, but I do know at the moment how to post a decent video on YouTube and how to get engagement on it based on the content you put in it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like at the minute, like that's attracting your audience. That's getting people into your world. You don't need Facebook ads, and I think that's the thing. A lot of online trainers listening, they think the first thing they need to do is put out an ad, but they just need to show other people who they are, what they're about, and be real. So,
like we don't have a Facebook page. We've got a Facebook page, and it's got 50 likes. We've not even posted anything like that.
We only set it up about 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I think people are looking for, and again, like you guys talk about it loads. I've seen the posts, and they kind of they also actually make me feel better when I read them, because it's kind of like reassuring to know, actually, no, I don't need to be an idiot. Is that you don't need Facebook ads, you don't need all the magic shit. You need to know fundamentally what your goal is. So like when we decided to do Biceps and Banter, there was a very direct reason behind why we're doing everything.
Yeah.
There was an assumption, I think it was like, oh, they just want to do
pissing
around doing YouTube videos.
I mean, we do that as well, but
that is what we do. And again, we kind of want the assumption to be that, because that's exactly what we want it to come across as. The reality is that like some work, I'm not saying loads of work, some work goes into it, into like how we're going through this stuff and being comfortable on camera and all these sort of skills we developed. And like I spent 3 weeks basically watching YouTube videos on how to make YouTube videos. 3 weeks pretty much solid, like going over all this stuff. It's not just happened like that overnight, that all of a sudden we just turned the camera on and we were all right at it. And even now we're still learning. Like don't get me wrong, like we know maybe like 5% of what there is to know, but that just gives us that head start on people who don't know anything, I suppose. So much like when people do nutrition courses to learn more about nutrition, it's kind of like we've got to the point now where it's like, do you know what? For our clients, we don't need to know any more about nutrition.
Yeah.
Like our clients, we know enough to help them. The next stage for us is to go, how are we going to grow our business, and how are we going to then, like Mike's going to spend the next week on a holiday learning how to edit, because otherwise I'm editing all the videos. And it's things like that like rather than now doing a week-long course about the biochemistry and physiology of, AMPK, and like some fucking coaches talk about that on Instagram, ridiculous. But rather than going into that, it's like, no, actually, it'd be useful if you knew how to edit videos.
Yeah.
Like mentally, and I think a lot of trainers don't look at other skills. They just focus on nutrition and think, oh, I've got to know more. And actually, no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
So actually, work on that first, maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Like,
that is honestly brilliant bit of advice. Because not enough people
we're just winging it.
Yeah.
We are just winging it, and like we have an idea and we have a theory and all this, but it is just a case of we're just going all guns in on it, and we're going, that's what we're doing.
Do you know what? I think most people are. Like, I genuinely think most people are.
No one's going to admit it. That's the problem. People don't like to admit it. But...
And I think that's what puts people off from starting, because they don't feel like they've got a set plan. Like, they might look at us and go, fucking hell, they know what they're doing. Do we fuck? Like, we're thick. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what we're doing. We learn as we go. Like, and we're winging it. Like,
it's like with all the infographics and stuff. People say like, oh, they look good, but it's like, well, we paid someone to put our branding for us. Like, I didn't come up with that logo. Like, there's no way we could have done that. And again, the infograph layout. We spoke to someone outside of the fitness industry, going, how would you do this if this was you? Oh, I would do it like this. You've got this kind of element of what you do going on. Like, we're not good at it, so outsource it. Again, same with our YouTube. Like, we work with a guy who helps us with the videos. He's helped me. He's taught me how to use a camera. He still does some of our other stuff for us, and it's like we're outsourcing that. Like, when you look at how much money we've outlaid on it, we made it all back.
Yeah.
From our clients now, we're both full with more clients we've ever had before in our lives, and it's by no coincidence that it's when we've started to do things exactly as we want to do them in ourselves, and learn these other skills alongside knowing about nutrition.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing for me, is people are Martin talks about a lot, Mark McDonald talks about a lot about like imposter syndrome. They're so worried about the amount of nutrition knowledge they've got that they don't realize that no one knows who they are. You need to get people to know who you are first, really. Like,
sure.
You've got enough knowledge. Like most people listening to this are going to have enough knowledge, period, to help someone lose weight. They know. It's about getting them to buy into you so that they actually do what you tell them to do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you can quote a fucking reference like for anything and pull it out of your arse. It doesn't matter because some of them I'd rather listen to white fucking noise than their voice. So what does it matter what they know? Like you need to know enough. Of course you do. Like of course you do. Like that's paramount. But you're never going to get anywhere unless you've got something unique, something different, something that draws people in, something that is likable. Pretty much, you're just going to be stagnant.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of coaches forget that 70% or even possibly more of what we learn from our clients. Like we learn from how they respond to different things and training and nutrition. So stop worrying about wanting to know everything and just focus on being yourself and being real to get people in.
My mum can lose weight, right? My mum can lose weight. It's not hard. My mum doesn't know fuck all. Like she'll go to Slimming World, even though her son is, a top nutritionist.
Same with mine.
Yeah, I've got a brother. He's pretty decent. But like, it's not hard. You can get somebody to lose weight. Even like half the fucking PTs or coaches out there don't know what they're fucking doing, yet are getting transformations. And it's not fucking hard. You give somebody an hour's cardio a day and eat nothing but chicken and broccoli. That bit isn't fucking hard. Like, so stop worrying about all the minutiae details of certain things. You know that you can get results from somebody as long as you are, likable. You are. You can build a rapport with somebody and you can get your personality across and more importantly attract that right person to work with. If you've got a good coach-client relationship because of how you've put yourself out marketing-wise, you're going to get results because they're going to listen to you, they're going to respect what you say, they're going to trust you, they're going to believe you, and you're going to be able to get the best out of them because you're going to know their little triggers and what, whether they need an arm around them, whether they need a telling off, and the certain aspects of coaching that you need to develop rather than this is happening because of fucking spiking insulin. Are you fucking real? Like, get a fucking grip. Do you know what I mean?
No, that perfectly ended that little segment. I agree with all of that. So online trainers just need to take note of that, definitely. So let's talk about obviously where the brand is going. Like, where is the next step for Biceps?
Liquidation. It's not going well. Especially after this.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of downhill after this, isn't it? Fucking second podcast we've been on as guests, and I think that's it. It's done, isn't it? It's done.
Where are we going? The gym in a minute, I reckon.
I think if we're really honest, all cards on the table, we don't know. And I think anyone who says that they can forecast where they're going to be in 6 months, 12 months, it just lies to themselves. Because unless you're a bigger business or bigger people and stuff, but we're 14 weeks into this, 14 weeks into Biceps and Banter, 15 weeks, something like that, into going it alone. And arguably the first 6 weeks of that, we didn't really do anything because we didn't have anything. So when you look at the amount of time we've actually had to kind of do our own thing, is that we're still very much figuring that all out.
Yeah.
We've been for a couple of meetings with people and had some really good advice from some good people in the industry who are smashing it themselves and kind of who we trust, who've given us advice on what to do. But I think, to be honest, the long and short of it is we don't know at the moment.
We're going to focus on what we're good at. We're going to focus on as clients, getting them results first and foremost. And then secondly, I think it's about just trying to grow the YouTube, because I think that in itself is going to be a decent filter for clients for us. Get a decent message out there, which I don't think that many people are doing. I think when you look at a lot of fitness YouTubers, the bigger ones, they tend to be quite happy, clappy, look at me, look at my abs, this is how great my life is. And that, for me, just doesn't resonate with a lot of people. Like, it's great to aspire to be like that, but it doesn't really help many people out. I don't think I've seen anything similar to what we do, so we're quite passionate about what we do. So I think just trying to grow that and keep working with clients, and then we'll see where it takes us, basically.
I think as well, we're now, like I said, pretty much full with clients, and obviously there's going to be that each month 1 to 2 drop off and 1 to 2 change and things. But I think that considering we've both never been as full as we are now, it's going to take 12 months of being at this level before we really can feel confident enough, I suppose, to do anything. I think a lot of people get to a magic number they have in their head of where they want to be full, and then plan the next big thing, take their eye off the ball with their clients, and then it all falls apart. And I think again, like I'll be honest, like we literally haven't really spoke past January. Like we know where we want to be for the new year, but again, like we're in a great position where we don't have to then in January go come and sign up for coaching, and because we don't so that'd be a time for us to be able to put out videos mocking all the fucking January special offers or whatever it is we decide to do videos on. We can focus on that, and we know that all our clients are, like you said, they're there and ready to smash the year as it is. So there will be things in the future that will come about. I've got no doubt about that. And like I said, for now, the focus is on just putting out good content that people will like and people enjoy. And maybe in 6 months' time, things will progress from there. But we've got some pretty big goals to hit with YouTube, and I think with clients, like got a couple of clients competing next weekend, and then I know that next year already we've both got a few people who are prepping for stuff, even though it's not really what we do, but again, that's quite an exciting thing. Photo shoots planned with people and stuff. So I think for a while it's just going to be letting us kind of find our feet with that, and just letting our clients do the talking, I suppose, alongside putting out some funny videos. But I think you'll see, hopefully in January the frequency of videos is going to ramp up. We're going to get a bit of help. Like I said, Mike's going to learn how to edit, and then all of a sudden we can do maybe 4 videos a week.
What are you laughing at, Jack? What are you laughing at?
Because you're not going to learn to edit.
Like name on all the front of the videos, like Mike edited this one, and then just
we'll see if you can tell the difference.
Fucking
hell.
No, I got faith in you, mate. It's fine. But again, it's even with like the videos. It's to make a 10-minute YouTube video, the amount of editing it requires. It's kind of like you go through phases of editing. So you'd have an initial phase where you just cut out all the chaff.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want Mike to do, because it's like the most time consuming, but it's easier to do. And then all the sexy transitions and the time lapses and how you put the thing together is then maybe the next step.
I don't know why I've been dragged into this. You don't see Brad Pitt editing his own film.
No, you don't. You're right, mate.
Do you?
No.
I don't
if you
understand.
had the money Brad Pitt had, we wouldn't be having this problem.
I don't understand why I've been dragged into it.
Yeah. It's your idea. You just wanted to get involved, really.
Yeah. he's just there to eat. He's just there to eat.
Correct.
That's it. What we need to do next is get one of those cameras that you can you plug on his head, and it's just like just a camera of his face. Because that's what we want. Is you just need a camera on you the whole time. I think.
Do you reckon?
That'd be the best thing to do.
Not the whole time.
Well, not the whole time. No.
No. You don't want to see certain things.
Cool. So just before we kind of wrap up, just where can we kind of find more about, obviously, you both, and what's the next eating challenge? I think everyone wants to know that. So.
We're both on Tinder, so Grinder. Yeah, Dan's not had a match yet, but we're always hopeful, aren't we, Dan?
29 years, yeah.
Yeah. No, we're both on Instagram. Mike Biceps Banter and Dan Biceps Banter. Pretty easy. The YouTube is Biceps and Banter.
Yeah. Go subscribe.
Go subscribe.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. We're desperate, so
we
will do anything for subscribers.
And then in Facebook as well, obviously it's launching. I think again in January it's going to sort of take off. Well, no, maybe this year we're going to start posting a lot more stuff on there, but we're just kind of curating all the content for that. So that's against Biceps and Banter. But we only have about 50 likes, so don't worry about it if you don't want to. But again, it's one of those where I think with that, we don't want loads of people liking the page if they're not that interested.
Don't put them off, for fuck's sake. You've given us an opportunity there to plug it, and you're going, actually, we don't want any of it.
Don't bother on Facebook. Just go on YouTube. Just YouTube. We don't care about Facebook. Just go on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube and Instagram.
Facebook don't like YouTube. YouTube and Facebook don't like each other. So just
YouTube and Instagram, yeah. That's where you'll find us. And the next eating challenge, we were going to leave it until 1,000 subs, weren't we? And we're about 140 off.
You're getting hungry, aren't you?
But yeah, I'm desperate for another one.
Maybe what we can do is if we could get 140 subscribers from the podcast to go and subscribe, then we'll have to do the 1,000 whatever challenge you're going to do. So
there's no way you get over 140 listeners, Jack. Surely not. Come on. There's not that many desperate PTs. Mate, that'd be awesome. But what we are going to do for the 1,000 is, although it will end up just being me.
Well, I'm going to do 100 calories now. You're going to do 1,000 calories.
I'll do 1,000 calories every hour for 24 hours. So 24,000 for those who are good at maths.
I don't know if you can do that. I'm going to put it out
Shut up! Come on, man.
I don't know. I've seen Beard Meets Food, Eric the Electric. They've struggled with 25 in a day, I think, haven't they? So,
mate, come on.
I don't know.
I did 10,000 without even trying, and then I've done 11,000 in a meal, and then
2 hours later,
and then 2 hours later I ate more, and I actually ate like Halo Top and Bro Foods, and I came in at about 17,000 that day.
Okay.
And I had to rein it in. So like, if I swap that Halo top for fucking Ben and Jerry's, I think I had like chicken and cauliflower rice as well for tea. So if I swap that for pizza, mate, I'll breeze it.
I'll retract my statement then. Didn't hear it. You have to edit that out.
No, I didn't eat a pizza the other day, so having a go at me. People have a go at me all the time. Like, oh, you can't eat anything. It's like people don't realise how hard it is. Like they sit there and they watch. It's like you always say. It's like watching Usain Bolt run 100 meters. Oh, that looks alright. That looks easy. It's like, yeah, but good people make it look easy. So like you sat there with Mike and he's chowing down it all, and people have a go at me. I'm like, well, you come and have a go then.
Yeah.
I think people like, I think Dan makes me look worse than what I am. And I think I make Dan look worse than what he is. So, like, when we ate with, like, John Clark and a few of his other PTs, so we went up and did a seminar in Worcester. Like, he basically goes up there to do an eating challenge. It's nothing to do with the seminar. But, like, the guy he was 175 kilos, John Clark used to be, as a strongman. So he thought he had a decent chance of beating me. And it was the biggest pizza in Worcester. And I broke the record that currently stood. And John finished it about 9 minutes after me, which, considering I did it in 15, is, a substantial amount. Dan and the other two guys didn't finish it. And then a week later, they actually got 8 competitive eaters to do a challenge to see who could do it quickest. And none of them finished it either. Not even didn't beat my time. They didn't even finish it.
Wow.
So
I think if online coaching goes to pot, then you know your new niche, I think, don't you?
I know. It's amazing because I get so many people calling me out going, I could beat you. I'm just like, no, you couldn't.
It's because people sit at home and have 2 bowls of cereal and be like, oh, I could have a third bowl. It's like, chill out, mate. Like, come on. But the other thing about them that I find fascinating that people don't get is that we obviously don't sit and watch TV or be distracted. You're sat there with a camera in your face and you're just eating and you're just looking at the food. And that's another thing is like, we and I spoke to clients about this before, is that actually you find when you're not watching TV or laptop or phone, it's actually, you focus more on the food and you feel yourself getting fuller quicker as well. That's another thing people don't realise.
Yeah. So. But yeah, if we get 140, we'll do the 24,000 calories. But, if it's gonna take a couple of months, I want to do one in the next few weeks, I reckon.
We might do a Christmas related one, maybe like pigs in blankets or something.
Yeah, boxes of celebrations and selection boxes and shit.
Whole turkey challenge.
Easy.
Oh, God, can you imagine that?
I know, that'd be fucking dry,
turkey breast.
Yeah.
Lovely. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll put all of your links in the show notes anyway, so obviously guys go and check it out and make sure you go and follow the guys. So that concludes pretty much episode 16. Really enjoyed having you on, so appreciate you guys coming on to the show. Lots of bits of wisdom for trainers to take away from today. I've certainly learnt a lot, so thank you again for coming on, guys.
It's been a pleasure, mate, honestly.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
No problem. Cool. So that's episode 16, and we will see you in the next one.